Well, we've made it to the official first YouTube video. So I made 5 bullet points. We're just going to speak directly to you, no script. The 5 bullet points are growing up, being different, school, sports, and parents. This will be about 8 to 15 minutes. We're going to make it fairly short. I grew up in Nikiski, Alaska. I lived there until I was 19 years old. We moved to Nikiski when I was probably 4, and then we lived in the same house from 4 until I was 18. But anyway, when I was growing up, from kindergarten, I knew that I was a little bit different. I had a harder time remembering things. I don't know. I didn't know why. I've recently found out why, but I didn't know why. School was incredibly hard, and there wasn't necessarily the. I didn't come across as not being smart. I came across as lazy. Because I could read fine. Every time people would ask you to read, I started reading when I was really young. But retaining is I couldn't retain nothing. It didn't matter what they tried to teach me. I just had a really hard time with it. I have a hard time remembering anything. I can't picture anything in my head. I have aphantasia. And so I knew I was a little bit different. That'll kind of become evident. And it's kind of been part of what has molded me over the last 49 years. So in school, I had a rough time. The teachers didn't like me. The students didn't like me. I was slower. I was just slow, and I became a nuisance because, well, I can't keep up with them academically. I just kind of was a self-destructing student. I would say from 9th to 12th grade, if I went to 50% of school between those years, I would be surprised. And there was a lot of years that I would get the book in the beginning of the year. It would be in plastic, and I would never take it out and give them their brand new book back at the end of the year. I did nothing. And that didn't start 9th grade. That started because my elementary years were rough. Especially, I had this dickhead freaking teacher named Mr. Peterson. I am so lucky that I moved out of that town, because you don't make fun of 3rd graders and 5th graders. I'm sorry, you just don't do it. But that guy was an asshole. And I don't have a very good memory. So for me to remember that his name is Peterson, that I had him in 3rd and 5th grade, and pretty much remember everything about him, you know that it was bad. I have almost zero ability to hold a grudge. Almost. Because my mind doesn't retain that knowledge. If we get into an argument, and you'll notice this in the comments. If somebody says something in the comments, my mind goes to, I need to address that now. I completely I got to do that right now. I got to take care of that right now. And so it's really actually good for me to have all these comments and then try to ignore them. That's good for me, because that's not my, if I get mad at one of my kids, or they don't do something correctly or whatever, it's the same thing every time. I get mad at them, and then I want to love them to death because I want to be over the getting mad. That's how I've been my entire life. I don't really dislike anybody. I do and I don't. I say I do, but I don't really. In my mind, I pretty much like everybody. I can think of one person that I actually hate, and they really did me dirty. But that's one person in my life in 49 years that I can tell you that I just hate them. But they are a bad person. Anyways, so school was hard. Like I said, it was rough. Same with sports, because I couldn't retain anything. Going and trying to learn plays for hockey, football, I could play with everybody, but as soon as we tried to do plays and stuff like that, I was going to be the bench guy. Even though I could have talent with learning how to do everything, the coaches and stuff don't want to deal with you when you can't remember Blue 22 or whatever, whatever play that you needed to learn. I'm 49. I still don't understand blitz, because for me to understand blitz, somebody has to draw it on a board, teach me, and then do it again, do it again, do it again, do it again until I can start retaining. Well, nobody's willing to do that, and I've stopped asking. You couldn't ask teachers in school. I learned, like I said, really early, don't ask people for help, because they get mad at you, especially me. I ask. So if I have a question, I'm probably going to have 10. I don't have just one. And that's how I learn. I learn very well off of questions. If I ask you 50 questions, it's probably because I'm learning, not because I'm questioning your judgment. A lot of people take offense to that. They think that I'm questioning what they're doing, and it's really the best way for me to learn. And I frustrate a lot of people. They think that I'm against them when I'm really just trying to understand them. Now, is that something that I could fix this year? I don't know. Am I going to figure out this way to have all this retention that I've never been able to do? I don't know. I'm going to try. Now, because of this challenge, I learned I have aphantasia. I put myself through the steps. I put myself through the steps of trying to figure out why is it so hard for me, and that's when I learned about the aphantasia, which just means that I can't picture anything, nothing. I can't hear nothing. Nothing's going on in my head unless I tell it to. And even then, I can't picture an apple. You know how you can picture an apple in your head and it's red and shiny with the stem? I can't do any of that. I just know that's red and shiny with the stem. I just know that. I can't picture it. Anyway, sports, like I said, was just the same. My parents. Now listen, I love my parents, and I've always loved my parents. My dad was hard on me, and I don't think my mom and dad liked each other very much. And so that was kind of a rough thing to be around. My dad was very into fishing and hunting. That's all he wanted to do. And so I had to fish and hunt all the time. When all the other kids were doing all these other things, I was fishing and hunting. Now, I have fond memories of that now. But at the same time, I kind of wished that I could have spent some more time with people my own age. But maybe he took me along because because it was obvious that I was a struggling kid, especially 9th through 12th grade, especially 9th through 12th. I was a struggling kid, I'm a much better person today than I was back then. Like my wife, God bless her, what she's done for me, I can't even explain to you guys. We've been married almost 29 years, and I would say for the first 5 years, it was a fight with me and her every day. And we are still an arguing couple. That's what we do. We argue. But man, do we love each other. We don't have any problem with loving each other. And we don't have any trouble telling each other how it is either. If my wife didn't want me to do this, trust me, she is going to be the loudest person out there. You don't have to tell me because she's going to. And anybody that knows her knows that. She stands up for herself. Anyways, so basically, just to kind of rehash what we talked about, what happened in my childhood directly influences why I'm doing this today. I want to go back and figure out these things that I struggled with to try to rectify them today. Why do I care? Well, this is what happens. Now my kids see what I do. I'm kind of a little bit of a recluse, but I'm not an introvert. I'm not an extrovert. I'm probably somewhere in between. One of my dreams is to go live in New York for an entire month. I just want to live there. I want to live like a New York person. And that seems like a dream to me. I went to Boston, loved every minute I could be in the middle of a crowd. But the problem is, when I go somewhere and I'm afraid that they're going to ask me a question, or I'm afraid that we're going to have a conversation, I start sweating. The anxiety kills me. And that's something that I need to work on this year. And honestly, this forum where I've got, I don't have that big of a following. I got 20,000 people, and probably maybe 1,000 of you guys actually watch. And out of that, maybe 30 or 40 will watch the isolation year. It's not like I've got all these people watching, but I got 30 people watching me that I would have never talked to like this before. This is already a huge win for me. Anyways, I'll talk like this forever, and so I better stop. It's already been 10 minutes and 15 seconds. I appreciate you all. Let me address the money real fast. We're doing this a few different ways. We're living poor. I have a small business. My wife works, and we're just gonna use some savings. But Instagram and YouTube and all these things, they make money. And so we are hoping that the channel will at least finance itself this year. Will it? I don't know, but we're going to try. And I don't understand why people are mad about this. I've never sat there and I thought when I'm going to Mission Impossible that I'm mad at whatever that guy's name is, Tom Cruise, because he got paid $1 million. I don't care. Like when I go to work, I don't worry about what other people make. Like, that's not even what this channel's about. I thought of this channel well before I thought that I could make any money. And I didn't even know that I could make money after I started the channel. I mean, it's an evolution. Like, why not? Why don't you guys just want to be like, oh man, look, this guy's actually doing something, and let's like, we just don't have to be enemies. We don't have to be mad at each other. I'm not mad at nobody. Like it or don't, or donate or don't. Like, everything's free. I'm not asking for money. But don't get mad at me because there's a potential there. I just don't understand it. Anyways, I'm going to put one last thing. If you watch this video all the way to the end, I want you to comment "end" in the comments. I just want to see how many people watch this all the way to the end. So just comment "end." I appreciate all of you. I'm going to get a shout out. I'm going to give a shout out. I'm going to give a shout out to Dab Towels. They're sending me a towel for my room. The only thing that I accepted. And it's pretty cool. I'll end up showing you guys the towel when I get it, but go look them up. Dab Towels. I appreciate you. See you, bye.